Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to be demystifying a law that honestly sounds a little intimidating but is super important for anyone in Nepal dealing with money from other countries. It's called the Foreign Exchange Act. So whether you're sending money, spending it, or getting it from abroad, you're going to want to stick around for this. Let's jump right in.
So think about it for a second. Are you sending money to a family member who's studying in another country? Maybe you're running a business that needs to import electronics or other goods. Or hey, maybe you're an investor from overseas looking at opportunities right here in Nepal. If any of that sounds familiar, then this law directly affects you. It's basically the official rulebook for how foreign money moves in and out of the country.
So here's our game plan. We've split this into 5 simple sections. First, we'll look at why this law even exists. Then we'll decode some of the key language so we're all on the same page. After that, we'll get into the main rulebook, see how it impacts businesses, and finally, we'll cover the pretty serious penalties for breaking the rules. Okay, first things first. Why does Nepal even need a whole separate law just for foreign money? You might think it's just about creating red tape, but really it's all about protecting the entire national economy. You don't even have to guess its purpose. The Act spells it out right in the beginning. Its goal is to regulate all these transactions for the economic benefit of the general public. So what's that really saying? Well, it's basically a safeguard to make sure the flow of foreign currency helps the country's economy and its people instead of harming it. And get this, the reach of this law is incredibly wide. It's not just for things happening inside Nepal's borders. Nope. It applies to all Nepalese citizens, no matter where they are in the world. Plus, it covers any company registered in Nepal, and that includes any branches they might have overseas. All right, next up. To really get a handle on the rules, we need to speak the language. The Act uses a few key terms that you'll hear over and over, and knowing what they mean is essential. Let's quickly break down the 3 most important ones. First, you've got foreign currency. This seems pretty obvious, right? It's any money that isn't the Nepalese rupee. But the law is specific. It also includes things like special drawing rights from the IMF. Now, all that means is it gives the central bank a few more tools in its toolbox to manage the economy. Then there's foreign exchange. This is way bigger than just cash. Think of it as the entire financial ecosystem. It covers the foreign currency itself, sure, but it also includes things like bank deposits, loans, checks, even credit card transactions if they're happening in a foreign currency. It's the whole shebang. And finally, the license. You can think of this as the golden ticket. It's the official permit you have to get from Nepal Rastra Bank, that's the central bank, to legally buy, sell, or deal in foreign exchange. The bottom line is, without this license, you can't play the game. So now that we've got the key terms down, let's open up the rulebook itself. Who's actually in charge here, and how can someone legally operate in this system? Here's the most important thing you need to remember. The Nepal Rastra Bank is the ultimate authority. Just think of them as the referee for the entire foreign exchange market. The law is crystal clear on this. No person, no company can do any kind of foreign exchange business without getting a license from the bank first, period. So how do you get one of these licenses? The process itself is pretty straightforward. Step 1, you apply to the bank with all your information. Step 2, the bank reviews everything. And step 3, if you check all their boxes, they'll issue you a license. But this license isn't a free pass. It will have very specific conditions, telling you exactly what you can do, setting limits on how much and for how long. And getting the license is really just the beginning. Once you have it, you have ongoing responsibilities. You have to pay annual fees, sure, but the big one is that you have to follow every single rule and directive the bank puts out. If you don't, they can suspend your license, or just cancel it altogether. Okay, so that's the general setup. But what does all this mean for businesses in the real world? Let's take a look at the specific rules for importers, exporters, and investors. When it comes to international trade, the rules are really specific. For importers, if you get foreign currency to buy certain goods, you have to use it for only that purpose. No exceptions. For exporters, you have to get paid in a recognized foreign currency and you have to bring that money back into Nepal. Why all the control? It's to make sure the money earned from trade actually comes back to benefit Nepal's economy. The Act also lays out clear rules for investment. So if you're a Nepalese citizen and you want to invest in another country, you need to get the bank's permission first. Now, on the flip side, if you're a foreign investor with a business in Nepal, you are allowed to send your profits back home. But again, it's not a free-for-all. The whole process is very carefully regulated by the bank to make sure everything is transparent. So we've gone through the rules, but what really gives this law its teeth? Well, it's the consequences. This last section is so important because it outlines the very, very high cost of trying to ignore the Foreign Exchange Act. So, what really happens if someone decides to just bypass the system? Maybe they deal with an unlicensed agent or they misuse the foreign currency they were given. Well, the FACI Act gives the government some pretty serious powers to investigate and punish people.
And when I say serious powers, I mean it. An authorized officer can search you or your property. They can stop and search any vehicle. If they have a good reason to be suspicious, they can enter and search a home or an office. And they have the authority to seize any illegal foreign currency or documents right there on the spot.
Now, the financial penalties are designed to be a huge deterrent. Look at this. For any illegal transaction, first, the government just takes the entire amount involved. Gone. Then, on top of that, they can slap you with a fine of up to 3 times that amount. For breaking trade rules, it can be double the value of the goods. And check out this last one. If a public official is caught, the penalty is automatically doubled. That shows you how seriously they take corruption in this system.
Let's just pause on that number for a second. A fine of up to 3 times the amount you were dealing with. That's not just a slap on the wrist. It's a penalty that's designed to be so painful that you won't even think about messing with the system. The financial risk is absolutely massive.
And if you think it's just about the money, think again. If someone is hit with one of these huge fines and they can't pay it, the act allows for them to be sent to prison for up to 4 years. The message here is loud and clear. The consequences are severe, both financially and personally. So, what's the bottom line here? It's this. The Foreign Exchange Act isn't some loose guideline. It is a strict rulebook with very serious consequences. Every single transaction involving foreign currency is being watched by the Nepal Roster Bank. Really, the only safe way to go about it is to know the rules and make absolutely sure you are only working with partners who have a legal license.
And that brings us to a final thought. This law was written for a particular time. But as Nepal's economy keeps growing, and as new technologies like digital payments and crypto become more mainstream, you have to wonder, how will this law need to change? The big challenge for the future will be figuring out how to balance that need for control with the need for progress. It's definitely something to think about.